It's time for playoff soccer in the NPSL, the Armada and Miami FC. This broadcast presented by Listed.com. And near South Beach, it will be the Armada looking for their second win in as many matches in the postseason. They take on their old rivals, Miami FC, at St. Thomas University, Bobcat Field in South Florida. Hello, everybody. Cole Pepper here along with Mauricio Ruiz. And here we go, a matchup that I think a lot of folks probably anticipated when the year began. Miami FC, they've got a big roster, they've got a big budget, and here they are playing their old rivals, Jacksonville, for not only a spot in the next round, but for some hardware, Mauricio. In the 98-team NPSL, there are conference championships to win, and that's what's at stake here today in Miami. Boy,
and you said it at the beginning of the year, if you were to call and put a bet on who are the two teams that will be here at the end of the playoff, it would be Miami FC and it would be Jacksonville Armada. They've played each other 10 times. It's the 11th matchup. Never it's cost so much.
And here we go. Here's how the Armada got here. On Wednesday night, Jacksonville got some revenge on Miami United, a team that had beaten them out of the U.S. Open Cup and had earned a couple of draws. But J.C. Banks with a pair of goals, Kieran Kilduff with a brace as well, a 4-1 victory. It was a big one on Wednesday night.
Well, that's the momentum that the Armada needed to get into Miami FC. At a difficult place, traveling down to Miami, it's going to be a game with a lot of emotions, but what a way to go into that game with a 4-1 win.
Here's what the rivalry looks like. As you mentioned, 6 wins for Miami all time, but this is the most important one. And considering that Miami lost only 1 match in the NPSL this year, that was to the Armada, a 1-0 Jacksonville win.
What have you done for me lately, right? And as far as these two teams are concerned, Armada have the momentum, and they got the best out of Miami FC in their last outing. So both teams right now have a lot at stake. Armada feel pretty confident coming with a 4-1 win against a very good Miami United team, which had not beaten them before. It's gonna be a great game to see.
Yeah, you get to the postseason, and it's the cream of the crop. And you have teams like Miami and Jacksonville, the New York Cosmos, other teams, Chattanooga and Atlanta are in the opposite bracket. The winner of that matchup tonight will come to the winner of this matchup in the next round in the regionals. Here are the keys to the match, Mauricio. It's an offense against offense kind of night.
Well, two teams that can score at will. Miami FC with 30 goals in the season, Jacksonville with 24 goals in the season. You got players like Derek Gebhardt on one side, Ariel Martinez on the other side. Guys that are dynamic, they're fun to watch, and if you let them hang around, they can make you pay for it.
Which goes to eliminating mistakes.
Well, absolutely. Neither one team can afford to make mistakes, especially on the back line. Armada, both teams playing a very aggressive, but also very dangerous style of play out of the back. The team that does not commit any mistakes out of the back, with their goalkeepers as well, should have the better success.
Well, as we mentioned, this broadcast presented, as it was last week, by Listed.com. On Wednesday night, one of the highest-rated broadcasts of the night was the Armada postseason matchups. There was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. There was a group out for the send-off yesterday as the team boarded buses to head down to South Florida. And Listed.com will continue to bring you all the action here of the Armada in the postseason. Kickoff straight ahead from Miami as we continue on right here on Channel 4.
After years of paying closing costs to help homeowners refinance and access equity with RP funding, I'm now helping home sellers and buyers with my new real estate company, Listed.com. When you sell your home with Listed.com, I'll pay your closing costs. Then buy your next home with Listed.com, and I'll pay your closing costs again. Combined, that's an average savings over $12,200. To sell or buy, visit Listed.com because closing costs are for the birds.
Staying prepared for severe weather takes dedication.
Always watching, 24/7, 365. Never losing sight of what's important, your family's safety. Alerting you before the storm, no matter where you are.
I'm severe weather ready for you.
The Weather Authority, always watching, always tracking.
You know, I don't look this great and stay this fit naturally. I have to work to stay in shape. I exercise and eat right. That's why I love Larry's Giant Subs. They are all natural, antibiotic-free deli meats and cheeses are not only good for me, but they taste great too. And they have so many fabulous options.
Like the Larry's Cold Roast Beef Sandwich with Racus Farms all-natural USDA choice roast beef.
See what I mean? Larry's for life.
I'm Robert Palmer, and I have a special offer for home buyers. Just bundle RP funding and listed.com to buy a home and I'll pay your closing costs. Buy a home and I'll pay your closing costs. Buy a home and I'll pay your closing costs.
No closing costs on a home purchase. Well, that could be a game changer.
Listed.com, because closing costs are for the birds.
Whoa, closing costs are for the birds? What the heck is that supposed to mean?
Bobcat Field is the site for the Armada and Miami FC, the conference championship. The Sunshine Conference winner will have some hardware after tonight. Joshua Castellanos of the Armada has been on a roll in his first season as a pro. The Armada with 4 members of the all-conference, and look at the following. They've made the trek down I-95, Section 904, as they have been, Mauricio, all year. Every road match, there's been a representation from Section 904 following the Armada.
Boy, and after Wednesday night with the fan support that came out to Hodges Stadium in the first playoff game against Miami United, these fans are excited. They want to see this team perform, and they want to see this team continue their playoff run.
There's Mark Lowry on the left, the head coach of the Armada, Aaron Pitchcolan, the assistant, and there's the captain, Kieran Kilduff, a pair of goals in Wednesday night's victory over Miami United. Alejandro Calume is the referee in the center, and we're just about ready to get going. Earlier this week, the all-conference picks were made. Yuma, one of the 4 Armada representatives on the All-Sunshine Conference squad, along with goalkeeper Brian Holt, defender Meshach Jerome, and Derek Gebhardt as well. A bit surprised that J.C. Banks and Kieran Kilduff didn't get the nod, but there are only so many spots to go around. Miami has 3 representatives on the 11, plus the coach of the year, Paul Dalglish, in the Sunshine Conference.
Well, you could really pick your all-conference entire team out of these 2 teams. I mean, there's talent to go around between these 2 teams. And like you said, there's only so many spots in it. But Kieran Kilduff, having the game that he had on Wednesday night, we keep talking about how much work he does off the ball defensively. He's a leader on the field. J.C. Banks, like a lot of veteran play on this Jacksonville Armada side. But Kilduff, as your number 9 striker, you want him to get on the scoreboard, and he did that on Wednesday night.
Armada about ready to try to take the next step. Again, in a league with 98 teams, 4 regions, and 12 conferences. Jacksonville's trying to win one of the conferences here, and if they can knock off Paul Dalglish's side in Miami, it'll be cause to purchase a trophy case. First piece of real hardware for the Armada.
Well, and it's a hardware that's meaningful in the history of the Armada. You're talking about the Armada having been in the NSL and now in a very competitive NPSL league, a league that you have, if you win this game, now you play Chattanooga or Atlanta Silverbacks, 2 teams that have a massive rapport and a reputation as good as any in the country. So it's an NPSL league that's attractive. It's a league that has shown to be extremely competitive this year. So a championship here will mean a lot to the Jacksonville Armada Club.
Interesting, too, there's been so much talk, as always, around the Armada, around soccer in America with promotion relegation. And when you start seeing clubs like the Armada and Miami FC, the New York Cosmos, Chattanooga FC, the Atlanta Silverbacks.
Silverbacks have a massive history in U.S. soccer, absolutely.
You'd have to think that perhaps the future of Pro Rel could have something to do with the NPSL. It's an exciting time in American soccer, to be sure, as things continue to grow. And a lot of change, of course, coming when you talk about missing out on the World Cup. It starts from there. Dario Suarez starts the kickoff for this Miami FC side. And we are underway. Jacksonville trying for the 2nd win of the season over Miami FC. The winner will host either Chattanooga or Atlanta in the regional playoffs. This one played too long for Suarez and out. It'll be a goal kick for Jacksonville's Brian Holt. 3 of the last 6 matches for Holt. The goalkeeper for the Armada has pitched a shutout. Clean sheets half the time in his last 6.
Boy, and I expect the beginning of this game, Cole, to be very, very calm and collected from both sides, really not trying to create any mistakes. You see Miami with a high line, but not really pressing per se, but just showing a high line and making it difficult for the Armada team that you're going to see traditionally likes to build out the back, and they do take some risks with Mishak Jerome and Brian Holt, goalkeeper alike.
Shane McInerney is the center back for the Armada there, the tall Irishman at 6'4". You've got a 6'4" Irishman on the back line, and then a 6'3" Irishman, Kieran Kildup, up top. Yeah, Coy Kraft playing an advanced position right now for Miami FC. You see Johnny Steele just ran by there, number 22, former MLSer. Miami certainly has the deepest roster of any team the Armada have faced in the NPSL this year. They've got a lot of talent out there, including Dylan Mayers right there, former Indy 11 star.
Well, if you talk about the one name that we're not going to mention tonight much on the pitch, is Chavez, their leading goal scorer. Got a red card in the last game, last regular season game, and led the team in goals, 9 goals this year. But you still talk about so much firepower in Martinez, and Dylan Mayers, a Sunshine Conference and all conference nominee as well. A lot of talent to go around as Miami FC team.
Tyler Polak, a throw in for Miami. Wes Sharpie plays it for Jacksonville to Yuma. Little one touch now. Here's Connor Doyle, tried to sneak it between a couple of defenders. It's worth noting that in addition to the attack of Miami, we've talked about how potent they can be. They've scored 5 goals twice this year and 7 another time. But they also defensively have been very stingy, conceding only 5 goals all season long, and this one handled by Brian Holt. First opportunity for the Armada goalkeeper in this game.
When you see Brian Holt having to be active early in the game, Turpak, a very good 1v1 player, loves to take the ball down the line, either get crosses in or shots. Brian Holt, both him and Vega from Miami FC are going to have superb games tonight, because both of these teams are going to challenge their goals, and they're going to have to play a very active but a very efficient game at the same time.
Of the 5 goals conceded by Miami, 2 of them scored by Jacksonville this year, including one by Derek Gebhardt in a 1-0 Armada victory at Hodges Stadium. The other one scored by Wes Sharpie here on this field in the season opener back on April the 28th. Mishak Jerome, long pinpoint passer. Second ball won by Bernstein for Miami. Beg your pardon, that was Johnny Steele. Got a couple of sturdy, bearded defenders back there for Miami. Here's Ariel Martinez, one of 2 Cubans in the starting 11 for Miami. One played ahead, but cut off by Jacksonville's defense.
And you see both teams playing a contrast of formation. Miami FC opting to go with a 4-2-3-1. Dylan Mayers and Johnny Steele sitting as the 2 holding mids, with Martinez as the true 10. And their motto, the way they've been playing all season long, playing in a 3-5-2 looks like at times, Cole, but very quickly transforms into a 4-5-1 defensively.
Right along the side, Jacksonville able to maintain possession, but playing it back to Brian Holt. If you've not watched the Armada much this year, you'll notice how much the Armada like to play from the back and how essential Brian Holt is playing the ball with his feet. Not every goalkeeper is as comfortable with the ball at his feet as Holt has shown.
Boy, if he just looked off screen, he just went off screen there. He comes up in between Mishak Jerome and McInerney, and he's pretty much used as a 3rd center back there, if you will, at times. Mikey Melvin really rotating to the left back position, getting high, and he's comfortable with his feet. But not only that, his teammates trust him to go back to him quite a bit.
Wes Sharpie, throw in for Jacksonville.
And what a tool to have in a back line. You never feel like you're under pressure. You can always send it back to your goalkeeper, and he knows how to handle it. At times, it has gotten Armada into a little bit of trouble, but oftentimes it's really the way they want to operate.
And there's a giveaway by Jerome on a pass intended all the way across the field for Mikey Melvin. Mishak, Haitian international. We mentioned last game, had an opportunity before the World Cup in a warm-up game to play against Argentina, and did some checking of Lionel Messi. Messi enjoyed himself in that contest.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. But what an experience! And Mishak Jerome was absent from the Armada for a couple of games this year, specifically for that international call-up. Starting center back for the Haitian national team. So every time he gets a chance to represent his country, and gets a chance to go up against someone like Messi, and it's a pretty special moment.
This one spun in and in behind Brian Holt. So Miami's had a little more of the front foot so far in this contest. But again, both teams sort of coming out here feeling out the other. There's a lot of familiarity by players and by these two teams. This is a new coach this year, Paul Dalgleish, from a year ago. But Mark Lowry certainly has seen this team quite a bit. This one played all the way down. Gebhardt on the run, got a little shove from behind in the box. No whistle, though. And the pace of Derek Gebhardt will be keeping a close eye on. With him running down that far side, his pace can really be something that can disrupt quite a bit. You saw Sean McFarland, the right back there, just a light touch hand on the lower back of Gebhardt.
Yeah, and even though we shouldn't, it seems like Derek Gebhardt's pace surprised McFarland just a little bit there. I love that ball over the top. Armada started the game by moving the ball around in the back quite a bit, but at one point, utilize the tools that you have in Derek Gebhardt. Use the speed over the top. You can see Mikey Melvin there trying to stretch him out again. As much as Sean McFarland likes to get forward, he's a very attacking style right back. You saw on a couple previous plays. He's going to leave a lot of room for Derek Gebhardt on the counterattack behind him. So something that's, Burstein's going to have to rotate across. Vega's going to often play off his line.
McFarland, former FIU star. Now in the middle of the park, here's Coy Kraft. Kraft, a former USA U20 team member.
Yeah, very surprised to see him playing higher up the field today. An FC Dallas prospect as well. Really good player. Last outing, we saw him almost in that deep midfield role, orchestrating the game. But today they opted to push him a little bit higher in the absence of Chavez.
This one into the box, hold off his line, trouble, and it's in. Ryan Holt came out to challenge for it, but didn't get there in time. And Miami taking an early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and despite Mikey Melvin's effort to keep the ball outside the net, Brian Holt mistimes it, comes out to punch it in the air, and it seems like Coy Kraft or Dylan Maris making a deep run. Oh, excuse me, that's Turpak coming from the right wing position, operating more in the middle. Brian Holt's gonna want that back. He's typically much better at that coming out. His timing is really good in the air. Just mistimed it, and Turpak gets the first goal of the night.
Chris Turpak makes it a 1-0 Miami FC lead.
We're talking about eliminating mistakes, and that's typically not a guy that you see have a lot of mistakes in his game. Brian Holt plays a risky game, but nonetheless, he makes good decisions. And on that one, he came out, probably the right decision to come out, just mistimed it, didn't come out early enough.
And Turpak, who is well-traveled, able to give Miami the early lead. Former San Antonio, Swope Park Rangers, Chivas USA, and also Austin Aztec player. At 26, he's seen a lot of different clubs, including here in Miami, and he gives Miami FC the early edge.
Yeah, and he's a player, he's a right midfield player, right wing player. He can play equally as good as well on the left, but he just got himself high up the field, coming in late on the play. Surprised at Armada's defense, not knowing who to mark.
One other thing to mention about this matchup, we talked about the advantage the Armada may have without Jaime Chavez available for Miami United because of the red card last game. Miami has the rest advantage. They did not play on Wednesday night as the #1 seed. The Armada, Mark Lowry saying it seems like for the last 2 months it's been a Wednesday, Saturday situation. When they had the good run into the U.S. Open Cup, it forced some of those midweek games to be rescheduled for later in the year. So playing in the heat of Jacksonville, we'll see if the legs become a factor at all here in Miami.
Well, absolutely, and it does make a difference. This team is well rested and well prepared for a game like this. Energy and momentum really carry you over. They put themselves in a little bit of a hole here, down 1-0 early in the game. So you see if they have those legs. Now, the one positive thing about the NPSL here as far as substitution goes, you have extra bodies that you can put into the game. You're not limited to only 3 substitutions.
Long well played down the right side. McFarland making a run, cutting it back for Kraft. Now Ariel Martinez. 3 goals this year, including 1 against the Armada in the 1-1 draw on opening day. This one into the middle of the box. Mishak Jerome there to head it out. It'll be a throw in near the corner flag for Miami.
And you can see in one play how high both fullbacks for Miami FC like to get up. Sean McFarlane with the new original play, and you see Polak there. A good opportunity for the counterattack, but this allows Miami to keep Jacksonville Armada pinched in, not allow them to get out. But if they do get an opportunity to get out with Derek Gibb hard on one side, Joshua Castellanos on the other side, plenty of speed on the counter.
Kraft playing it back to Martinez. Now out wide for McFarlane. Most of the first 11 minutes have been played in this end of the field. Dylan Mares lifts it, and Holt run into hard. Kraft making the run right at the top of the 6-yard box, and it looked like Holt might have hesitated for just a moment, and nobody marking Kraft.
Yeah, it seems still a little bit shaky from the last play where the goal is allowed. Runners making good runs, Kraft and Turpak making good diagonal runs behind Armada's defense. It seems like there's a little bit off on the reaction time. See Mishak Jerome there, not following the play in, and having Holt come out in a dangerous position.
Again, this broadcast presented by Listed.com. New venture by Robert Palmer, the owner of the Armada. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Little back heel by Banks. Had Castellanos on the run. Now here's Kilduff, and tried to cut it around and was deflected, I believe, by a Miami defender.
And that was much better from their Armada on top of the box. I love that combination between Castellanos and J.C. Banks, veteran and youth and young player, and queued off, getting a good shot off. It's good to see your center forward get a shot off early in the game. But to me, really the key of their Armada's midfield, even though you have a lot of experience in Connor Doyle, you taking the corner kick, and Yuma, Joshua Castellanos has just been a superb player in the attacking end for Jacksonville Armada side.
Connor Doyle, the corner for Jacksonville. Drives one in. McInerney was there, headed back in by J.C. Banks. Sharpie tried to get a foot to it, headed by Castellanos once and then twice, but didn't have much steam behind it, and Daniel Vega will handle things for Miami. Vega, very accomplished goalkeeper as well. Talking about the two best goalkeepers in the Sunshine Conference going at today. Here's Banks, unmarked through the box, and his shot deflected. Another corner kick coming for Jacksonville. J.C. Banks coming off a 2-goal performance on Wednesday night.
Well, he had a great shift on Wednesday night. He had 2 goals, had an assist, a beautiful little lofted ball for Kudov's goal. There's a player that can play anywhere. It seems like every time. This is the first time, by the way, Cole, in 3 straight games that their Armada have put on the same lineup on the field. They've rotated, they adjusted their personnel as far as position goes, but the momentum and the consistency they have should bode well.
Here's Connor Doyle again, driving one in, headed away by Miami's defense. Yuma coming for it for Jacksonville. He'll lift it back in. McInerney in the area, and an offside flag up on the near side. So a couple of opportunities and corners created by Jacksonville, but nothing too terribly dangerous for Daniel Vega, former River Plate goalkeeper in Argentina. We mentioned Listed.com. Great concept. Of course, Robert Palmer known for paying closing costs on mortgages, and now he's paying closing costs to help him buy or sell homes. And as you saw in the commercial in pregame, on average, you could save over $12,000 with Listed.com when Robert pays your closing costs if you're buying and then selling your home and buying a new one.
Might have to give him a call in a short period of time.
The new Mauricio Ruiz family homestead.
Yeah,
to
come. The family side is starting to expand a little bit.
Exactly.
I think we're going to hold off for a while, but we might need a little more room. Might just give Listed.com a call.
Mentioned that the other game we're keeping an eye on, Atlanta and Chattanooga in the Southeastern Conference. And the winner of that one faces the winner of this one in Florida for the next round of the regional playoffs. Lightning delay between Atlanta and Chattanooga, so they have not yet begun. They were scheduled to start at 7:30. They've pushed that start time back till at least 8 o'clock, and we'll continue to follow the weather as it impacts that matchup. Exciting part for the Armada, a win here, and they host another playoff game in Hodges Stadium.
Boy, imagine coming off a Miami United win, going down there to Miami FC, coming back from a 1-0 down and pulling out the win. This traveling Jacksonville Armada Section 904 group, imagine what the ruckus that they'll do at home if they're able to pull this game off.
There's Dylan Mares. Heads it forward. Cut off there by Mishak Jerome, and now Dario Suarez circles back to it. Suarez, like Ariel Martinez, a Cuban, scored a couple of goals in the regular season finale against Boca Raton. 12 goals this year, or rather 6 goals this year for Suarez. That was second best on the team for Miami, behind Jaime Chavez, who, as we've mentioned, is sitting this one out after a red card at the start of the second half. Sloppy giveaway for the Armada once again. Tracked back by Castellanos, who was able to win it back. Good hustle again by the former UNF star.
You talk about rivalry and how all these two teams, how familiar they are to one another. They respect each other quite a bit. They know if they open the game up and if it turns into a track meet, a lot of gaps can open up and a lot of goal opportunities can come.
Shaq Jerome able to defend there as Kraft was making the run. And now here comes Jacksonville's opportunity. Down a goal after the 8th minute score by Chris Turpak for Miami.
And see Miami FC content. We're just dropping off a little bit. They got their goal. They're able to control the tempo of the game a little bit more, making it difficult for their Armada to try to break them down. Plenty of time on the clock, Cole, as you've seen in this past World Cup, in this past month. How many goals, how many games were changed with goals late in the game? How many plotting twists? Probably one of the most exciting World Cups that we've had in recent time with plot twists. So plenty of time on the field. You see Yuma there coming into the play. He knows, veteran player. Armada, they're not going to get desperate being down 1 goal.
There's Mason Trafford. NASL best 11 last year. And all conference this year in the NPSL. There's Maris to Martinez. Miami sending resources forward. Turpak, the goal scorer. In the box, McInerney cut him off. And Mishak Jerome got back. Looks like Mishak Jerome is actually playing more centrally. And McInerney may be sliding out a bit defensively. We've seen McInerney, for the most part, playing in the middle to this point when he's been in there.
Yeah, I think that's that natural change that we talk about. The Armada attacking at 3-5-2, but they defend in a 4-5-1, if you will. And Mikey Melvin rotates to the left back position. McInerney rotates a little bit more left, and Mishak comes in. Now, that puts a lot of pressure on Wesley Sharpe, as you see there on the tackle. Puts a lot of pressure on him because he's that natural right wing back, and he has to rotate as a right back position.
Sharpe for the foul. Had a little word from Alejandro Calume. Suarez wanted more, but the card stays in the pocket. Take another look at it.
And you see Wesley Sharpe, he has to follow Suarez in. Miami FC did such a good job of rotating and replacing one another with runs, confusing the defense a little bit, who goes in, who stays back. You're seeing Yuma a little bit outside of his natural position, protecting a back line, a little bit higher up, and that's caused by the rotation and the movement of the Miami FC attacking players.
Martinez and Maris over this one on the restart for Miami. It's Martinez with the left foot. High floater headed back toward the goal, but off frame for Miami. Jacksonville with the goal kick. There's Kieran Kilduff. What an addition he's been for the Armada. 8 goals, including 1 in the U.S. Open Cup this year for Jacksonville.
And he's in really good form right now, scoring the last couple of games. See, his role has changed a little bit. Coach Lara has dropped him into the midfield at times, given a little more freedom to come and get the ball. Hasn't felt that he's been as involved in a game in the early stages of the season. The last couple of games has really come to light.
Some very interesting combinations of talents for the Armada attacking players. You've got a big skillful player like Kilduff. You've got a guy who's very comfortable on the ball in J.C. Banks. The pace of Gebhardt, another ball that got through to Turpak. Mishak Jerome plays it wide for Sharpe. Can he get there in time? Yes, he can. But gives it away again. Here's Dylan Mares. Miss-hit that one. And the Armada, fortunate, looks like it's going to be maybe a throw, or will it be a goal kick? It's right over near the corner flag.
Yeah, it seems going to be a throw. The ball just slipped right on the outside boot of De La Mare's. And Brian Ho has to be thankful for that. A little bit sloppy out of the back for the Armada right now. I don't know if it's a surface or just it does seem to be a goal kick. No, I stand corrected, Cole. It is a throw.
Yeah, it was right next to the corner
They're
flag.
about as confused as we are there on the field. Brian Ho put the ball off for a goal kick.
Mikey Melvin.
This is a Miami FC team that if you give them a whole lot, they're naturally going to create a lot of attacking opportunities. You can't afford to give them things in front of your goal.
Right along the ground, Meshach Jerome, right place at the right time once again.
That's better for Meshach Jerome.
Here's Sharpie playing it forward. Trying to get it to Kilduff. And you wonder if, particularly for some of the young players, if nerves come into play in a game like this where there has been a tremendous amount of buildup and there is hardware on the line.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of veteran plays on this Jacksonville Armada team, but you talked about the players.
McFarland into the box. Cuts it back. McInerney got a boot to it. Banks will track it down for Jacksonville. Turpak tries to take it away from JC, but JC wins the duel. Now here's the veteran Yuma. 32-year-old from Madrid, playing it out wide for Sharpie.
And I think the nerves, not just from the young players, as we mentioned, they've been very solid all season long. And there's a lot of veteran players in Meshach Jerome, Yuma, Connor Doyle. But this is the first opportunity for the Armada to collect some hardware in their short history as a club. This is a really first tangible time, and they know they have an opportunity. Miami FC won the league last year. A lot of these players have returned. They're playing at home. They have the rest, so a little bit less pressure on them. The Armada want to make sure they come out on the front foot, and now being down a goal makes the task just a little bit larger. And you wonder if that's where the nerves come in a little bit. Really wanted to pay respect to the fans that are there, to the support that the city has given them.
You talk about the change, what has happened over the last year. There was a lot of doubt, a lot of question, a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Armada last year. And then when the club was purchased by Robert Palmer, certainly brought a lot of stability to the club. And now it does appear, you talk about stability of a league with the NPSL having so many teams. One of the challenges for the NASL was that they had a fairly limited number of teams, and trying to add some more didn't have much margin for error, and that's part of what cost them the sanctioning, second division sanctioning from U.S. Soccer. But not the problem with the NPSL. We mentioned 98 teams in a future that, who knows, could include a version of promotion relegation.
Right, and with 98 teams, and you talked to club president Jim Nathan Walters last week. The NPSL have offered Armada a home to play, for the foreseeable future, and it's a home that has a lot of talent. Teams that you see like Miami FC and Miami United, with a lot of, even Palm Beach.
Sharpie swinging one in. Banks tried to cut it off. Now here's Gebhardt. Swings out in front. Castellanos on a ball that was destined for the goal, blocked by Trafford, who went down for it.
Well, that's a heads-up play from Derek Gebhardt, just waiting for a run to come. And Castellanos just comes late. Trafford just throws his body in front of the play. Best opportunity for the Armada so far.
Suarez through ball for Coy Kraft. Kraft crosses it in, right out in front. Melvin got back to it, but you can see the pace of Miami down the left side as well, and that sets up a Miami corner.
Well, that's the back and forth game the fans are looking for. That chance on one side, blocked. Counterattack on the other side, blocked on the other side, a corner kick. You see there, Derek Gebhardt. JC Banks does a good job, good runs in the box. Heads up play by Derek Gebhardt and Joshua Castellanos. Probably should have just put it back where he came from, the near post. But Mason Trafford doing a really good job of getting his body in front of the ball and goal.
Here's Maris. 8 goals, 5 assists a season ago with Indy. Scored a couple of goals this year for Miami. This one right out in front, headed away by Kilduff. His big body pays off on corner kicks on both ends of the park. Now chipped all the way back toward Vega.
You know, and I don't think that their Armada players kind of go back to the promotion relegation conversation and the level of the league. I think their Armada players will tell you the same thing. I think they were surprised and sometimes maybe even a little taken back of how good a lot of these NPSL teams are. And obviously, with so many teams in the league, you're going to have your teams that are a little bit lower, as you saw in Storm FC, maybe even in Naples, in Boca. But at the top end, they're about as good as any. They're about as good as competition that Armada have seen in their history.
Yeah, you talk about the 3 former NASL sides that came directly down. Atlanta, also a former NASL from a couple of years ago. Atlanta owned by a guy who has a lot of player connections, really showcasing some of those top young players in Atlanta.
And that's become a little more of their model the last few years, bring in a lot of talented players, create a good product on the field, and try to see if it's a trampoline team for a lot of these players to get into some of the, even world leagues, not just here in the U.S. You know, but I think this league and the teams that are on the field right now, and you bring the Cosmos Chattanooga into it, I think they're part of the conversation with the future of U.S. soccer. You know, we talked about the stability of where things are right now.
Johnny Steele lost possession.
Obviously, the elephant in the room is the U.S. not participating in this current World Cup cycle. So a lot of good questions are up for grabs right now, and you know, still haven't been answered. A lot of things have not been answered so far. Still don't have a national team coach. You know, kind of what's the status of the league, the second league? What is this additional league, satellite leagues doing? So I think these teams that are currently in the field, the ownerships, have a lot to say in the future, have a lot of influence what's going to be happening with the future of U.S. soccer, and it's exciting times.
I think by and large, if you want to sort of have a feel for what clubs are likely to be influential in that, look at the clubs that are still playing at this point in the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
Typically, those are the better run organizations, better supported. Detroit City would be another one. New Orleans Jesters. And of course, we know all about Miami and the Cosmos. Here's a takeaway by Kilduff. Vega off his line. Kilduff waits, and Kilduff levels things at one. Kieran Kilduff, the patience, and Jacksonville is level with Miami.
Cohen, I wasn't quite sure if he was going to have the pace to get to that before Vega got to it, but we kept talking about mistakes, eliminate mistakes on both sides. Brian Holt had one that allowed Miami FC to get on the scoreboard, and Miami FC just gave it right back. You see that Dylan Mayers, and a really good job by Kilduff, just picking his pocket, as you mentioned, patience from the veteran Irish striker to get around Vega, and now we have a game 1-1.
That is an enormous goal. Kilduff, who's been on a real roll, scored 2 on Wednesday night. Still some conversations going on with the referee and some of the Armada players. But
Kilduff
Kilduff
talking about the tackle with two-footed tackle earlier.
Kilduff, 9 goals now this year for Jacksonville, including U.S. Open Cup play across all competitions, regular season, postseason, and cup play.
Well, I think this goes a lot, talk about the resiliency and maturity of a player, the mental toughness that players require. We mentioned early in the season, he's doing a lot of work off the ball, not really creating or scoring the chances, and at times missing really wide open shots that we've seen. But he stated the intangibles that he did off the ball, the things he did defensively for his team, allowed him continued opportunity to be on the field. And the last 3 games, 3-4 games, he's been absolutely on fire. There's nothing better than a striker on good confidence, Cole. Getting a goal before halftime, it is massive, as you mentioned.
I was going to say, in the first matchup between these two sides, back on April the 28th, the Armada took an early lead, 26-minute goal by Wes Sharpie. Ariel Martinez scoring at the hour mark in the second half. Much easier, typically, to come back at home than on the road once you get to the last half hour.
When you give credit to the way the Armada were positioning themselves, that they were responding, and I talked about all the time. Always interesting to see how teams respond to being down, to suffering a goal. Armada didn't change the way that they were playing. It was early in the game.
Now here's Maris, who ran it right off the referee. Good defending by Alejandro
That's
Calumet.
fantastic defend. That's great 1v1 open field tackle.
Nobody calling for the foul on that one.
Armada will take that all day.
There have now been 6 goals scored against Miami FC in NPSL play this year. Half of them scored by the Armada. Ishak Jerome on the run, cutting off Kraft and got the shove.
And I guarantee you, Coach Lowry is going to talk to Ishak Jerome about this ball's over the top. Kraft is doing a really good job of making those diagonal runs right behind the line. And Ishak just seems to get caught off guard almost every single time. He's looking at everything that's in front of him, but he's got to protect the space that's behind him as well.
Jerome plays it forward to Wes Sharpie. Inside for Castellanos, just a little bit off his heel. You can see the engine on Joshua Castellanos. Seems like he never stops moving.
Yeah, now you wonder as a first-time pro if there's accumulation of games and travel, even though college is quite a bit of that as well.
Shot from distance by Martinez. Was off frame, but Holt covered it up just to be safe.
But just the level of competition from college, even though the schedule might be as strenuous, the physicality of the game, the speed of the game, Castellanos just continues to surprise us as how well prepared he has been. And what influential player he's been for the Jacksonville Armada all season long.
Yeah, and not just against the lower teams, against the top
everybody.
teams. Everybody.
We talk about he has youthful moments in games, but he has yet to have a bad game where you just absolutely you had to remove him, or you're wondering what he's doing on the field. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's been one of the better players for the Armada, young or old.
And great to see that local tie-in. We mentioned Mikey Melvin from Nice. And with Castellanos, high school teammates. Always important for a soccer club to help develop local talent and to give young players an example of what they can do as they try to rise through the ranks. This one played out wide, cut back in front. And Suarez has scored to make it 2-1.
And that's a good response from Miami FC. You saw right off the kickoff a few minutes ago, after their Armada's goal, you just saw a surge of energy from Miami FC. They really got themselves back into the game. And you see as quickly as they allow a goal, they can score and get it right back. Lovely play by Polak, left back, coming high up the field. Suarez just getting himself inside the box. To Dylan Marriage just orchestrating everything in the midfield. And once again, Ishak Jerome just seems to be a little bit off the speed or reaction time. If he gets himself into that position, that's an easy clearance for him.
So 2-1, and the Armada will have to come from behind again. Section 904 urging on the boys in blue. This time it's the boys in the other blue that have a 2-1 lead. Sharpie with Suarez running up his back. Foul whistled on Suarez.
Well, Cole, one of our topics at pregame was offense versus offense, right? I think these two teams have shown that their capability of scoring, 2-1, 35th minute of the first half. You expect this game as it goes a little bit longer just to open up. Armada getting the equalizer. Miami continue to press forward.
Here's Banks finding the second ball. Looking for some space. Castellanos pushed down, no whistle. In the 2 previous matches between Jacksonville and Miami, a grand total of 3 goals were scored. There have been 3 scored in the opening 35 minutes.
And it's really a lot more. This last goal, a little bit less, but you're looking at some defensive mistakes on both sides that have allowed the goals to go in. Yuma's got to be careful. That's a second 2-foot tackle in the midfield on the continuation of the play.
Here's Johnny Steele, Northern Ireland, capped 3 times for his national team at 32 years of age, one of the older players on the pitch. There are some guys in their 30s on this Miami roster. You start talking about Vega at 34. We got Don Smart on the bench, who's 30. Chavez, who's not playing, is 30. Bernstein is 30. This one into the box, headed back to the middle, and Holt had to cut right in front of Mason Trafford to grab it. Holt will try to start a counter here. Tried to get it to Gebhard, but couldn't connect with the speedy Armada youngster.
Yeah, very veteran team of Miami. Really talking about Coy Kraft being on the field right now, the only early 20 player. Everyone else, as you mentioned, Turpak, still a young player, but in his later 20s. The Jacksonville Armada between Mikey Melvin, McInerney, Joshua Castellanos, very young team with a lot of prospect going forward.
Vega in the back. Armada showing a higher line here. Down a goal for the second time in the match. Suarez, that's his 7th goal for Miami in NPSL play. That one intercepted by Melvin. Martinez showing some spry legs.
You can see Miami FC very intentional about slowing down the possession when they do have the ball, trying to make the Armada team. They know they travel. They know they played a couple heavy games only about 72 hours ago. They're trying to stretch to the field. They're trying to get forward, but at the same time, making them shift side to side and just be patient and wait for those openings to come.
Talked about the rigorous schedule the Armada have played. I asked Mark Lowry after the regular season finale if he felt like he was able to rest some of his guys enough late in the year, and he admitted, no, probably not. With the Wednesday, Saturday turnarounds, it can be tough.
Well, with the standings being so tight with Miami United right there, Naples not too far, really couldn't afford to drop any points, so you had to play your top guys all the time. We constantly wondered if they're going to use some of the other players they have on the bench, but Coach Lowry knows he's got to play his top guys in order to get results.
Here comes Polak. Edge of the box, crossed in, headed away by Jacksonville. And now Connor Doyle will just boot it the other way. You see Gebhard cherry picking out near the halfway line.
Yeah, and that's intentional. They're keeping him right over there on the left-hand side. I talked about Sean McFarland, the right back, getting forward. So there Gebhard is just poaching over there on the left-hand side and trying to get him sprayed over the top against Bernstein.
Send in Ishak Jerome, Yuma, now Connor Doyle.
Now I'll propose that question again. Interesting to see how the Armada will respond to being down for the second time in the first half. And say at what point, maybe just waiting to halftime to make any tactical adjustments. Maybe you expose another player forward. You don't want to open up yourself in the back. A 2-1 game until the last minute. Still very much a winnable game.
We talked about the Armada feeling confident in their attack. Miami has to feel very confident. After the loss to the Armada on June the 6th, they reeled off 5 straight wins to get to this point.
When you talk about a team that doesn't give up a whole lot, right? Not only they can score, but as you can see here, they're just very stingy defensively as well. Very well structured. 2 prototypical center backs in Trafford and Bernstein. You have Ruffin on the bench as well.
Former Armada defender, Tyler Ruthven.
I mean, anytime you have a goalkeeper like Vega, captain of the team, that can orchestrate and make sure that everything stays organized. Because they do send a lot of numbers forward, so they're susceptible to the counterattack. But the veteran leadership in the back makes them very well organized.
5.5 minutes remaining regulation time here in the half. The Armada continue to show a high line. Here comes Gebhard to force the action from Vega. And he forces a poor clearance. Jacksonville regains possession. Here's Connor Doyle. Now to Castellanos. Right now, Jacksonville just probing the Miami defense, looking for a soft spot. Have not been many.
And Miami has no interest to come out and press. They're going to allow Jacksonville Armada just get the ball in the midfield, make those passing lanes really tight. You see Martinez recovering. They're going to make them go around, but they're not going to let them get through.
It's Castellanos out wide. Beg your pardon, that's Melvin. Tries to cross it in toward Kilduff, got cut off. Now Doyle, a little awkward on a ball that got into his body a bit. Goal kick for Miami.
I think that's good patience from Jacksonville Armada. You know, take what they're giving you. They're not giving you a whole lot, so continue to have the ball, continue to move the game side to side. To Mikey Melvin doing a great job of getting high.
In stark contrast to Wednesday night's matchup against Miami United, we've yet to see a yellow card through the first 41 minutes.
Well, two teams that, you know, they're here for a reason. They're veterans. They're professional. Controlled emotion, a lot of aggression, a lot of passion on the field, but controlled aggression. You're not gonna, and nobody here wants to see themselves get tossed out of a game because of something silly.
Sharpie.
Now as the game gets a little bit tighter towards the end, Cole, you're going to see probably teams taking a little more of a chance defensively and offensively, trying to just earn those inches that'll probably be tough to come around all game long.
I think fair to say that the referee Alejandro Calume allowing, not getting too quick to the pocket, allowing some contact. Here in the opening half, it's been fairly continual action.
Well, the contrast from Miami United, Miami FC, and you add Armada to this calculation. Jacksonville Armada and Miami FC, two very disciplined defensive teams. Miami United, a very physical defensive team. So when you add that element to it, they like to tackle, they like to get on you, they like to getting the referee involved.
Yuma, an athletic move to get it back towards Sharpie. He'll head it to Brian Holt, who can pick it up if he likes, but for now he'll play it with his feet. Forward again, Kilduff couldn't close down. Vega came off his line to clear it out for Miami.
And it's a good ball from Ishak Jerome. Early ball over the top, catching the Miami United, it's a Miami FC team on its back foot. They've shown that once you slowly build up the field, they're very good of closing down space. So why not try them early?
Castellanos had an opportunity there, but lost possession. Now here's Dylan Maris. Maris plays it in behind Chris Turpak. Now to Kraft with McInerney coming up on him. Now Gebhardt, can he get out and run? Got kicked by Johnny Steele.
Yeah, and we're seeing Joshua Castellanos praises early in the game. You know, maybe the nerves for a young player in a playoff game is starting to come into the equation a little bit. He hasn't had good minutes here so far. Still working hard as usual, but the ball seems to be a little bit hot off his foot.
Alejandro Calume has been doing more talking with players than he has booking them. No bookings as of yet. Giving the verbal warnings. Here's Jerome. Final minute of regulation time in the first half in Miami. Miami a 2-1 lead. Chris Turpak and Dario Suarez scoring for the home team. Kieran Kilduff, the 29th minute goal for Jacksonville. Now here's Kraft on a run out. Holt way off his line, out of his box. Last line of defense there. He has to sprint back to get into position.
Yeah, dangerous play with Brian Holt. Took the gamble to cover McInerney. See how quickly the Miami FC like to get on a counterattack.
One minute of stoppage time, you could hear. We mentioned it has been a fairly continual match. 3 goals, about the only thing that has disrupted the first half action.
Pretty well controlled from both sides. Teams just interested in keeping possession, not a whole lot of high press.
And all the way through for Kraft. McInerney back there. Holt coming off his line. Saw McInerney trying to body up on Kraft, and Kraft almost ran around him. dangerous moment here in the dying seconds of the half.
And Miami FC done a really good job of just finding those open slots that are left between the center backs. When you have a three-man back line, sometimes the space to cover just a little bit bigger, and that's what they're finding. They're finding those gaps in between McInerney and Mishak Jerome, Mishak and Wesley Sharpie.
Yuma lifting one for Gebhard, making a run, brings it down. Gebhard taken down right at the edge of the box. Shot went wide, and Gebhard is feeling it. Did not get the call.
Boy, and what a lovely ball from Yuma, right over the top. Great touch to bring the ball down off his chest. There, Gebhard probably got a little bit of a knock from McFarland right when he's about to take the shot. The ball just goes out wide.
Gebhard on the deck as the half comes to a close. Take another look at it. Gebhard couldn't quite see the contact, maybe an arm coming up on the side of the head for Gebhard. See if we get it from here. Yep, elbow right in the ear.
Yeah, probably if he doesn't try to get that shot off, he may be able to draw the PK there as he tries to take another touch. Definitely got hit, but that was more of a natural motion as Sean McFarland was just doing his best to recover.
So Gebhard and the Armada will head to the locker room down 2-1. They'll need to find a goal in the second half. Mark Lowry said he didn't want to see it go to extra time. With the legs being what they are, Jacksonville will have to work from a deficit in the second half. Halftime show is coming up next. The NPSL playoffs right here on Channel 4.
After years of paying closing costs to help homeowners refinance and access equity with RP funding, I'm now helping home sellers and buyers with my new real estate company, Listed.com. When you sell your home with Listed.com, closing costs. Then buy your next home with Listed.com, and I'll pay your closing costs again. Combined, that's an average savings of over $12,200. To sell or buy, visit Listed.com because closing costs are for the birds.
Every time we do a breaking news alert, the sole purpose of it is to keep the families of our viewers safe.
Tornado warning. Westside Elementary School being put on lockdown.
With breaking news, it is so much more important to getting it right than being first. If it's not accurate information, we're not going on with it. News 4 Jax will stay on breaking news as long as it continues to be breaking news until it's over, until things are safe. That's what our viewers count on us for.
News 4 Jax, your place for breaking news alerts.
It's such a big market shift for me to step out there and pay all the closing costs on a refinance. There's a lot of skepticism. There's also just a lot of people misunderstand it. They think it means that we're going to finance the closing costs, or we're going to add them onto their loan or add them onto the back of the loan. We've closed tens of thousands of people under that program, and so they are the proof. They are the proof that it's true. They are the proof that the fees weren't hidden anywhere. They're the proof that there was no gotcha. I just paid their closing costs.
News 4 Jax, more resources to help keep you safe. From the air, Sky 4 brings you breaking news and traffic alerts day or night. On the ground, the News 4 Jax mobile newsroom brings you live to the scene of local breaking news. And our mobile weather lab, Storm Track 4, keeps you ahead of the storms. On your phone, video forecasts and custom alerts from your saved locations, all on the Weather Authority app. Keeping you safe and better informed. News 4 Jax.
The Armada in the playoffs, presented by Listed.com. 2-1 at halftime, Miami FC with the lead. They'll water down the field. It'll be quick in the second half. Probably good for both sides who like to play the ball along the ground. But Jacksonville's going to have to find a goal somewhere along the line. Cole Pepper along with Mauricio Ruiz. Your takeaway from the first half?
Two teams that weren't trying to give up a whole lot, but nonetheless make some crucial mistakes. Both teams, Miami FC ended up giving a goal back to their Armada. Just a little bit better offensively going forward, better chances created. But the game is tight. It's right there.
All right, let's take a look at the playoff picture as it lays out right now in the NPSL. This is in the regionals, which would be the South region next. Again, the Armada trailed 2-1. The other matchup, Chattanooga FC and Atlanta Silverbacks. We mentioned that there was a lightning delay, And we'll be keeping a close eye on how that all plays out there. They're warming up right now, about ready to kick off in that matchup between Chattanooga FC and Atlanta, the Silverbacks. Either one of those two teams in the Southeast Conference would come to both Jacksonville and Miami in the next round in those NPSL South Region semifinals. So a lot on the line, certainly the Sunshine Conference Championship, but also a home match in the next round of the playoffs at stake here tonight.
Boy, if you want to continue to make a run into the playoffs all the way up to national, it sets up pretty well for the Sunshine Conference team. So winning tonight down in Miami will bode really well for an Armada team that's been traveling quite a bit the last couple of weeks.
We mentioned that both of these teams certainly had outstanding years, and a lot of that because of the talent on each side. This week, the Sunshine Conference releasing the all-conference picks, and you can see it here. Brian Holt, Meshach Jerome, Yuma, and Derek Gebhardt. You have a goalkeeper, the defender, midfield, and a forward for the Armada. 3 players, including Chavez and Maris, Mason Trafford, and head coach Paul Dalglish. I think you could also make a really strong case for Mark Lowry as Coach of the Year as well in the NPSL Sunshine Conference. That being said, when you talk about 4 of the 12 honorees on the pitch for each side tonight, a total of 8, really tells you where the quality is in this division.
Oh, it's very top-ended with the Armada and with Miami FC. And you look on the Armada side, right down the spine of the team with the goalkeeper, center back, center mid, and a forward. And you can argue the same for Miami FC there. 2 teams have a lot of talent on the field. We're seeing it displayed tonight. Second half, you're going to see what you want to see, those stars, starting to pull their weight at this point.
More to come straight ahead from Miami at halftime. The Armada trail 2-1. This broadcast presented by Listed.com. Let's take a quick look at the newest Listed.com TV commercial.
After years of paying closing costs to help homeowners refinance and access equity with RP funding, I'm now helping home sellers and buyers with my new real estate company, Listed.com. When you sell your home with Listed.com, I'll pay your closing costs. Then buy your next home with Listed.com, and I'll pay your closing costs again. Combined, that's an average savings over $12,200. To sell or buy, visit Listed.com because closing costs are for the birds.
You know, I don't look this great and stay this fit naturally. I have to work to stay in shape. I exercise and eat right. That's why I love Larry's Giant Subs. Their all-natural, antibiotic-free deli meats and cheeses are not only good for me, but they taste great too. And they have so many fabulous options.
Like the Larry's Cold Roast Beef Sandwich with Rakus Farms all-natural USDA Choice Roast Beef.
See what I mean? Larry's for life.
Every time we do a breaking news alert, the sole purpose of it is to keep the families of our viewers safe.
Tornado warning. Westside Elementary School being put on lockdown.
With breaking news, it is so much more important to getting it right than being first. If it's not accurate information, we're not going on with it. News4Jax will stay on breaking news as long as it continues to be breaking news, until it's over, until things are safe. That's what our viewers count on us for.
News4Jax, your place for breaking news alerts.
I'm Robert Palmer, president of RP Funding, and I've saved our customers over $40 million in closing costs. With home values being at an all-time high, smart homeowners are using their home equity now more than ever. Your home equity could be the best way to finance home improvements, consolidate debt, make investments, or even large purchases. But don't use your home equity to pay closing costs. Let me pay them instead. Visit rpfunding.com or call today.
2-1 Miami leading at halftime at Bobcat Field in Miami. The Armada in the playoffs looking for a second straight postseason win. Let's take a look at the first half highlights here in just a moment. Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz. We mentioned this is going to be a matchup of offense against offense, and so far we've seen it. It's been a back and forth first half.
It's been a back and forth, and both keepers have been somewhat busy. Brian Holt a little bit more. Vegas had a little bit easier of the time out of the two. Neither team can afford to make mistakes out of the back because both offenses can really start stringing some goals really quickly.
All right, let's take a look at those first half highlights. Early on, Miami got on the board first. Chris Turpak got on the end of this one and able to head it over Brian Holt. But the Armada came back. A couple of chances they sort of create, and Kieran Kilduff pretty active in the opening half hour.
Yeah, he started getting himself involved in the game. You see a shot there early. Lovely ball from Derek Gebhardt. Joshua Castellanos not having the better of his games just yet. You expect a lot more from him in the second half. But you see they're killed off towards the end, towards the middle of the first half, getting the equalizer.
And then Kieran Kilduff got it, able to really sucker in Daniel Vega, pulled it back, and then put it into the side netting.
Oh, what a heads-up play by him. Picked up the pocket of Dylan Mayers, veteran player.
Miami able to get back, though, in the 34th minute. Tyler Polak finding Dario Suarez for the goal, and that's why Miami is up 2-1. Late in the half, right at the end, you saw Derek Gebhardt take the elbow in the ear. Did not get the call there. Again, no cards in that first half. Very few fouls called at all. Pretty clean first half, and certainly Alejandro Calumet let him play.
Yeah, no, he absolutely did. And I think Coach Lowry, he's the one that might kick somebody in the locker room at halftime. He might get a yellow card from his own team. The first goal, you expect Miami FC to score a goal or maybe two. But the second goal, right off of the fact that you just came back and you tied the game 1-1, bit of a sloppy play out of defensively for the Armada in the back. You expect better from their veteran defenders. Then expect the second half the things to get sharpened up a little bit more.
Any sort of tactical changes that you look for, personnel changes or shape changes?
Outside of fatigue, which we really don't know, I think the only change you're gonna see if the Armada, as the game goes on in the second half, they're gonna have that cue to, hey, listen, we gotta press a little bit higher now. And I think they should do that from the beginning of the second half. They gotta start putting a little bit of pressure on. 45 minutes to play, a lot can happen, but they got to start chasing after it a little bit now.
Well, that's how it looks in that first half with Jacksonville down 2-1. Again, the Armada, the only team to beat Miami FC in league play this year, and they're going to have to try to do it again. Let's take a look at some of the numbers from the first half. 13 shots in total, but you saw Miami really tested Brian Holt, the Armada goalkeeper, with 5 shots on goal. The only shot on goal for the Armada went in.
Yeah, so chances created on both sides. 6 for the Armada, 7 for Miami FC, but really real chances created, more for Miami FC. They're getting a little bit better success in front of the goal, and they're testing Brian Holt just a little bit more.
2-1 at halftime. More when we come back. Jacksonville needs a goal in the final 45 to level things with Miami. 2 goals would send them on to the regionals in the NPSL playoffs.
After years of paying closing costs to help homeowners refinance and access equity with RP funding, I'm now helping home sellers and buyers with my new real estate company, Listed.com. When you sell your home with Listed.com, I'll pay your closing costs. Then buy your next home with Listed.com, and I'll pay your closing costs again. Combined, that's an average savings over $12,200. To sell or buy, visit Listed.com because closing costs are for the birds.
Staying prepared for severe weather takes dedication.
Always watching, 24/7, 365. Never losing sight of what's important, your family's safety. Alerting you before the storm, no matter where you are.
I'm severe weather ready for you.
The Weather Authority, always watching, always tracking.
I'm Robert Palmer, president of RP Funding, and I've saved our customers over $40 million in closing costs. With home values being at an all-time high, smart homeowners are using their home equity now more than ever. Your home equity could be the best way to finance home improvements, consolidate debt, make investments, or even large purchases. But don't use your home equity to pay closing costs. Let me pay them instead. Visit rpfunding.com or call today.
News 4 Jax. More resources to help keep you safe. From the air, Sky 4 brings you breaking news and traffic alerts day or night. On the ground, the News 4 Jax mobile newsroom brings you live to the scene of local breaking news. And our mobile weather lab, Storm Track 4, keeps you ahead of the storms. On your phone, video forecasts and custom alerts from your saved locations. All on the Weather Authority app. Keeping you safe and better informed. News 4 Jax.
Today's broadcast presented by Listed.com. The Armada down 2-1, getting ready for the second half just moments ago. And as we mentioned earlier, Listed.com. Robert Palmer, owner of the Armada, new concept for him. But it's an old concept, paying closing costs on people's mortgages. They'll pay closing costs to help you sell or buy a home. Visit Listed.com. And you can save, on average, over $12,000 when you're selling and buying a home. For Miami, Mauricio, we talked about what kind of adjustments the Armada might make. What about for Miami?
Well, I think Miami is just going to be very comfortable with doing a little bit what they did at the end of the first half. Just retaining, resisting pressure a lot, playing off the counterattack. They got some very speedy players in Suarez and Martinez. So they're not going to give up anything a whole lot in the second half. They want to see how Jacksonville responds. And I think off of their response, they're going to use their veteran play to close out the half.
All right, let's take a closer look at Brian Holt's action in the first half, the All-Sunshine Conference goalkeeper. And he was certainly tested early and often.
I mean, you can see they're nearly 2 minutes into the game already, having to make a save. And I think it was a lot more testing. See on the first goal here, just a ball over the top of Mishak Jerome, and the back line just being a little bit late to a lot of the plays. See there again, a lot of activity from Brian Holt.
Now, Holt's a guy, we mentioned, was a backup for the New York Cosmos, and sitting behind Jimmy Maurer, one of the outstanding American goalkeepers. And Section 904 would like to see a few more Miami charges towards Brian Holt. See Dario Suarez, who scored the second goal for Miami, saying hi to friends and family. Section 904 hoping for a home game next week in the playoffs. And it's going to need something's going to happen here that has not happened all year long against Miami in NPSL play, and that is to see them give up 3. They have not surrendered 3 goals in a match all year long.
Yeah, they've been a team that we often identify Miami FC as good of an offensive team as they are, but coming into this game, only giving up five goals in 12 games. Team that doesn't give up a whole lot, especially when they're in the lead. They know how to secure it.
Yeah, veteran defenders and veteran midfielders. You talk about knowing how to play with the lead. There's Johnny Steele and Aaron Pitchcolin. Guys who went head-to-head in the NASL a time or two.
And Pitchcolin transferring in, finishing his career last year with Jacksonville Armada, rotating over to the bench to help Coach Lariao start his coaching career. Intelligent brain of the game, knows how to play really well. In a player that I think actually helped the growth of Mishak Jerome, because he's always been just a very natural, instinctive player. But having someone like Aaron Pitchcolin next to him last year really helped develop him and grow his game.
See, Joshua Castellanos has a gray shirt on, so maybe a change to the Armada lineup coming here in the second half. So you mentioned Castellanos had a couple of challenging moments in that first half.
Yeah, and you wonder if it's fatigue at this point as well. We talked about a young player just not being used to this back-to-back and how physical the game is. Just certainly did not have one of his better games, one of his better halves so far. But what a benefit. You can go to your bench and get a Camilo Portillo.
There's Mark Lowry, who admitted at halftime he was very direct with his players on Wednesday night, and they responded. 3 second-half goals, including 2 in the opening 4 minutes after halftime. We'll see if the Armada respond here in the same fashion.
Well, hopefully he didn't go to that wall too early in Miami United. He didn't use all of it, because he's gonna I would imagine he had to fire his team up here at this halftime to get this back line going.
Looking out there for the change. Did you notice Portilla with the warm-up off? There he is, Camilo Portilla, young Colombian. More pace as well. Talk about the engine of Joshua Castellanos. Portilla on the left of your screen. You can just see the eyes peering in to the huddle. Yuma firing up the squad.
Yeah, and you can make the argument that Portilla is a starter on this team. If you could put 12, 13 guys out there, Portilla is one of those guys that got easily rotated throughout the season. A fun player to watch, someone that can really make a difference. As you mentioned, he's got a lot of pace, but he's very creative. He can get away from trouble, and he can score goals or create goals for others very, very quickly.
And we talked about youth, just 19 years of age, Camilo Portilla. Played in the Colombian second division and was on the U17 team in Colombia. One of the stronger national teams on the planet. The Armada will have to work from behind for the second time tonight. See Brian Holt there.
Be very telling from the kickoff how the Armada decides to initiate their press, if they're going to press a little bit higher, if they're going to create some controversy and create some problems for the Miami FC team building up, or if they're going to sit back and they're just going to try to recover the ball. I think this player's now at this point, 45 minutes it's your season. Everything you've built up to at this point is really your season. So you have really nothing to leave on the line. You got to give it all. You got to leave everything out on the field.
Connor Doyle in his first season with the Armada, hoping to continue his season on a warm night in Miami. 83 degrees in South Florida. Here's Banks fighting for it. Kilduff, a little tap. Portilla with his first touch. Came early in the half. Sharpie to the byline, cut off there. Well defended by Miami. Cleared but not out. We'll see how aggressive Jacksonville will play without the ball, but certainly, you know, they're going to be aggressive going forward with it.
Well, you can just see they have a little bit of an extra step to their play right now. They're attacking. Portillo's just going to be on the ball a whole lot. He's got the fresh legs, played about half the game on Wednesday as well. Coach Larry's looking for him to create that instant offense that we talked about.
Here's Gebhardt. Back to Yuma. Now Jerome coming far forward. Mishak from distance, a blast. We've seen him launch some, that time just trying it from distance, and that'll keep Daniel Vega thinking about things when Mishak is in the Jerome zone.
Well, and if that was most players, I'll tell you that's a bad decision to shoot from that far out. If that's McNerney coming up with that ball, probably telling you that he needs to pass. But we see Mishak have that range, and as you mentioned, makes Miami just have to ask themselves the questions. Do we push up on him and leave the space behind a little more open, or do we stay back?
We're hearing that Chattanooga and Atlanta just now getting underway. Again, the winner of this one will host the winner of that game. And Gebhardt, as he was at the end of the first half, starts the second half by taking a knock.
Seems he got hit, he got kneed on the way up, and he went to challenge for the ball. And see, he's right there on his Turpak's knee. No malicious on the play. But that's a sweet spot where it hurts.
Right in the kidney.
Yep. It's like that boxer kidney punch. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but man, that hurts, especially on your way up and you're off balance.
Sharpie lays it forward. Now controlled by Steele, who was fending off a charge from Portilla. Goal kick coming. There's Camilo Portilla. We talked about the young foundation for the future for the Armada with Portilla and Castellanos, Melvin. There have been some good young players who have got an opportunity to develop this year for Jacksonville in the midst of some good veterans like Kilduff and Jerome and Yuma, Connor Doyle and others. And there's the pressure from Jacksonville forcing the turnover.
Boy, we're wondering when the Armada were going to start with that press, if they're going to wait at some point in the second half. It seems like they started right away, and it seems to be working so far because that high press creates some instant offense as you see them getting on the ball a whole lot. Miami FC really haven't even got out in his first 3-4 minutes of the second half.
Melvin plays it out to Gebhardt. Kilduff making an overlapping run. Gebhardt looking for some space and put it on the ground. Nobody made the run until Banks with a late charge. Vega, usually sure-handed, didn't field it cleanly.
Boy, and that's a good play from young Derek Gebhardt. Starting position out wide. He's got dribbling skills to take him on. Didn't get a whole lot on the shot. And once again, high press from the Armada, regaining that possession, or at least keeping Miami FC down there.
The Armada pestering when Vega has the ball at his feet. We've talked about how good Holt is with the ball at his feet. Vega doesn't have the same reputation. He's a shot stopper.
He's like a leopard. Both goalkeepers similar in their stature. I think Vega has a couple inches on Brian Holt. Both of them very good at being shot stoppers, but you're absolutely right with their feet. Brian Holt a little bit more comfortable.
Vega was the Golden Glove winner last year for Miami. 2017 saw 15 clean sheets by Vega.
That's impressive. A lot of it to do with the guys he's got right in front of him as well. A lot of veteran players in his front line.
Take a look at Shane McInerney, modest center back. McFarland the throw in for Miami. Martinez able to track it down, got past Gebhardt. Now McFarland. Miami trying to create their first attacking opportunity of the half.
And you can see the level of urgency Jacksonville Armada have right now. They're coming back, they're defending, they're going to leave everything on the field right now. They're pressing out, they're trying to get the ball back with a counter press right away. You have a feeling that they're counting down the minutes to make sure that they want to extend their season as long as possible. And right now they got about 40 minutes to do something about it.
You could hear Paul Dalglish, the Miami head coach, barking out commands. Son of the Scotland, Celtic, and Liverpool legend Kenny Dalglish.
He's got an impressive name to carry that legacy forward.
Here's Meshach Jerome. Martinez cut in on that one along the ground. Yuma finds the open space and the ball. Now to Kilduff with Banks to his left. He'll play it out wide. Gebhardt. Banks making an in-cut run, and just a little missed time between Gebhardt and J.C. Banks.
Well, if I'm J.C. Banks, I'm doing the same thing.
Here's Gebhardt again. He's got Kilduff to the inside. Instead leaves it off for Portilla, and Portilla just sent it wide. Vega may have had the post covered, but Camilo Portilla with a threatening shot there.
Yeah, and that counter press from the Armada, getting the ball back as quickly as they lose it. It's been working so far. Derek Gebhardt did a really good job of being patient, finding Camilo Portilla wide open on top of the box. He just didn't get enough on that ball. Vegas seemed to have it covered, but a little bit of a stronger, more direct shot. I think Portilla has a really good chance at goal.
Here's Portilla again. Looking for space and help. Turns it back for Yuma. He'll lift one to the back post, goes all the way over Kilduff. Good thought by Yuma, didn't quite connect with the Irish captain.
Well, that's not a bad look. Right now, it seems to be the Derek Gebhardt and Camilo Portillo second half show. Try to get some other guys involved, so then Miami FC, they really don't know who to defend. It creates a lot of questions.
Now here's Doyle coming up with some pressure. This time Vega able to handle it okay.
I think Vega hurt us comparing him with his foot skills to Brian Holt.
And here's Holt coming all the way out. And look at him here. On cue, Brian Holt with a deft little touch. Now Portilla. Can he create something for Jacksonville? To Yuma.
Well, that's a lovely touch and a lovely turn from Portilla. Gets himself out of trouble. Really didn't have much going on there. Somehow he gets himself out of trouble, retains possession.
Kilduff kicked by Bernstein, no whistle. Here's Martinez on a run out. McInerney went down. Now out in front, and it's 3-1 Miami.
And you can see how deadly they are on the counterattack. That's the risk when you start throwing numbers 4 for the Armada and pressing up high. You leave yourself a little bit more open in the back. Mikey Melvin made an attempt, sliding tackle, didn't get himself enough time to get up, and it's really 2v2 there. Once again, going to the ground by McInerney, and Martinez just really cool and collected, and Turpak has his second goal of the night.
Chris Turpak, who scored 2 goals in the regular season, now has 2 here in the playoffs. And the supporters for Miami FC have lit the smoke once again.
When that's unfortunate, you can see their Connor Doe just doing a lot of work up top to get that ball back. Armada created 3 chances in the first 3-4 minutes of the second half. Really should have had more to say about it. And for really first time, Cole, that Miami FC gets on the attack. Dangerous team going forward. A lot of talented players that make you pay.
Now, how tough is this road back for Jacksonville?
Well, it's tough, but it's 1 goal at a time, nonetheless. They can't look at trying to tie it right now. They can't look at trying to get ahead. It's getting that second goal as quickly as possible with a lot of urgency so you can talk about the third goal. They were going to need 3 goals anyways in this game to win down at 2-1. They're still going to need 3 goals. So might as well made the task a little bit tougher.
Gebhardt into the box. Again, Gebhardt can't believe it. And Alejandro Calume, the referee, saying, no, sir. He has not at all seemed inclined to call fouls or pull a card.
Well, he's right on top of the play, Cole, and he's early to the argument. Before the players start saying their side, He's right there. He sees it. He's clear with it. So no reason to go to the card. He's doing a good job, unless something can be malicious.
And as a player, you have to start reading that, don't you?
Absolutely.
As how aggressive a referee's going to be in terms of calling fouls.
And it's not like he's letting them get away with stuff. He's right there. He's addressing it. Eventually, someone becomes a repeated offender. And Gebhardt does a good job to get around it. McFarland just puts a little bit of pressure. You could argue for a PK there, but that's a tough one. I think there Gebhardt should have continued to push forward and not try to get the PK, but try to get clear and maybe get across inside the box. Referees can see that. They can see when you're just trying to ride that tackle long enough to fall on the ground when you really had an opportunity to keep it going.
Now Holt again showing the skill with the feet.
Wow, he's like a center midfield back there.
Here is Camilo Portilla. Yuma along the ground, killed up, one touch for Banks.
Yeah, and you say referee's not going to be calling it the soft stuff. It's going to have to be something really significant around the box. And that's what you want. You don't want a referee just to call little touch fouls all over the place. You want them to be fair, consistent.
As we approach the hour mark, can Jacksonville find a goal to claw back into this one? Doyle providing some high pressure.
It seems he's got plenty of legs and he's encouraging his teammates to continue to come up and press with him. See Yuma there, veteran player on the team, coming up. They can try to push to create a turnover here, and they need it at this point.
Miami not able to clear it out, but maintaining possession. Martinez with the turn. And the Armada racing back to reinforce the defense. A little back heel now. Another one, and Holt will handle this one fairly easily. Watching the body language of Derek Gebhardt, you can see that he looks like a guy who's been doing so much running. He's been on the ground so much, maybe looking for a quick breather, a little respite somewhere along the line.
Yeah,
so we can have that burst.
Well, and Miami FC are making their Armada players work extremely hard. They're pressing up high, but they're not getting distressed. They're continuing to pass around the back. Lovely build-up last time from them. And when you press high and you feel like you're going to get some success.
Now killed off from distance, right into the bread box of Vega. There's a Miami player down right outside the box.
And that's a good take from Kildorf. Got a lot on it. If he goes anywhere to the side, maybe Vega has to make a tougher save.
That's Rhett Bernstein.
Seems to have trimmed down his beard from last year.
Yeah, he had a rather impressive facial hair a year ago. Still pretty good, not quite as long though. This broadcast brought to you by Listed.com and Robert Palmer's new real estate venture. Great to see his continued support. And another one of his companies become a key Armada sponsor. Listed.com. Here's Doyle teeing it up. We've seen him score from about that area earlier this year. Didn't have his best strike that time.
Boy, and the Armada players are starting to see how difficult it is to break his Mason Trafford and Bernstein's defense, and just trying to just shoot from distance, which is a bit of a sign of desperation. They're getting good looks, so it's not that they're taking bad shots, but maybe with a little bit more patient, working the ball around a little bit more, get the rest of your team up with you, or really just attack that back line. But they're getting looks, Cole. They're getting opportunities to bring this deficit just a little bit tighter.
You can see all the Armada players in those white shirts. All of them really sweating in the Miami heat. They have been working hard tonight and have been basically playing 2 games a week. And you talk about the amount of mileage run in a soccer game. Guys might run 5, 6, 7, 8 miles. Starts to add up. Now here's Ariel Martinez. Lifts one over Holt's head and onto the roof.
Yeah, and this is a team, if they've shown one thing, is consistency in the style of play. Being very committed to building out of the back and playing a good quality, entertaining brand, and just a work ethic. This team they've stayed together through some tough moments this season, and I don't expect anything less at this point. Even though you're down 3-1, you see they're still committed to their style of play and to their philosophy and how they want to continue to move forward as a club, attract players that can play this kind of system. Coach Larry and Nathan Walters are very specific in how they want to play, and you need to have good character, and character shows up at moments like this.
Yuma lifting one. Kilduff couldn't get there in time. Played out to Dylan Mayers, and there's a tackle by Yuma, who got a piece of the ball, plenty of the ball, but it goes out for a Miami throw-in. Half an hour remaining of regulation time in the season for one of these two sides, and right now, Miami in the driver's seat.
Connor Doyle continued to press up here, really making Miami work for this build-up.
The Armada can create some opportunities with this approach. They've had a few already. They need to capitalize. McFarland coming forward. Cuts it to the inside. McInerney got a piece of it. Then Meshach Jerome there. He got shoulder blocked. And this could be a card.
And this might be the first card of the game. Little late tackle. Maybe our official forgot his cards at home, Cole.
That's Coy Kraft.
That's late, that's from behind, really no intention. That's not a soccer play. It's more trying to foul on purpose here to stop the play. But no card still. Maybe he did forget a card at home.
I'm sure there's somebody around that can loan him one. Here's Meshach Jerome. Now to Sharpie. Lift to one for Portilla. Camilo Portilla with Banks in the middle of the park.
And he had him early in the point in the middle too. Good patience from Portilla, but he had J.C. Banks making a really good run on the near post.
Punched out with one hand by Vega. And now Yuma takes it back. Kilduff. And the Armada find that goal to claw to back to within a goal here. Here is Connor Doyle. Long diagonal for Wes Sharpie. And cleared out a lot of blue shirts in the box there. And a miss hit. Melvin coming well forward. Banks couldn't control it. And then McInerney a miss hit. A lot of little mistakes right now for the Armada. If they play those balls cleanly, a chance for a goal.
It seems that the surface is it's a little bit wet. It's starting to skip just a little bit more on the players. I thought that in the first half as well. Both teams having a tough time clearing the ball, or the tight little touches just not quite there. I would have loved to see Kilduff on Yuma's takeover. Just go at the defenders, trying to get one of them to commit. Sometimes Armada have the tendency to be a little bit too patient on the counter play.
Keeping you updated on Chattanooga and Atlanta 0-0. They're 16 minutes in.
And I'm sure those two teams have their eyes and ears on this game too.
Again, the winner of this one will host the winner of that game. Here's Sharpie. Trying to maintain possession. There's a tackle. And I think we may have our first card of the match.
Well, he did bring it.
Dylan Mayers.
Yeah, see, that was just a continuation play. He allowed the play to go when the first time. Johnny Steele continued to press there a little bit.
No, it is, yeah, Steele. He was standing next to Mayers. It is Steele.
Well, if you had to guess a Miami FC player that might get a yellow card tonight, I'll put my money on the Northern Irish player, Johnny Steele, veteran player.
Talk about how physical Miami United is defensively. Steele every bit the physical player.
Oh, absolutely. He just has a little bit of a bite to how he plays.
Seems to be the way with Northern Irish players. They don't back down.
Nope.
Yuma sets it up for Connor Doyle. Bounces it in. Cleared out by Miami. It'll be chased down by Meshach Jerome. Like to see the Armada get some chances here in the next 5 minutes or so. Give them 20 minutes to try to close the gap.
Listen, to get some balls into the box and making Vega have to make some saves. The back line, we've seen a couple poor clearances here and there. Really good patience from the Armada. They're going to continue to do this, rotate the ball from side to side, trying to find those tight little openings. But if you get the ball out wide.
Now Banks from the top of the D, hooked one. It was on frame, but Vega had it read the whole way.
Yeah, not a bad look from J.C. Banks, top of the box. Really patient. They're trying to find that opening to get a shot off. Just didn't get a whole lot on it. But Vega a lot more active the second half goal in the first half. It seems like there's a momentum building for Jacksonville Armada here, trying to get some more chances. Playing really on their front foot. Just got to be careful not to allow, very similar to the third goal, a counterattack opportunity in Miami FC to get this game carried, get out of hand.
Here's Wes Sharpie. Trying to get it to Portilla. Steele put a foot in there for Miami. Now Sharpie foul.
Boy, so the yellow cards are coming out now. Now he's got to even it out, right? Now you give it to one, but very similar. From behind, chasing a player down. See Wesley Sharp just going to ground, just caught him late.
So Sharpie and Steele, 2 yellow cards, 1 for each side. '67th minute here in Miami. The Armada down 3-1 to the top team in the conference. Jacksonville was the number 2 seed. Here's Connor Doyle. Miami leaving a lot of players back, not committing much to the attack. Really taking out any opportunity for a counter for Jacksonville.
And Doyle's looking for Derek Gebhardt making a run. It seems like he's starting to run out of legs a little bit. You talked about the defensive work he has to do in the left wing back position, coming back so far.
Here's Gebhardt. Ian Doyle combining. Jacksonville throw.
And you need a player like Derek Gebhardt on the field, even though he might be tired, may not have a whole lot of legs defensively, but just keep him high, keep him in a 1v1 situations out wide. He can create so many opportunities for you.
Now Meshach Jerome. Little back heel by Kilduff. Here's Gebhardt. Lost it, but Doyle right there. He'll swing one in. Oh boy, what a shot there by Doyle. Vega just got a hand on it to push it over the top.
And it seems at first he got his head up. He saw Kieran killed off in the back post. It looked like it was going to be a driven ball to the back, but all of a sudden he curled it. And I'll tell you what, if Vega does not get his hand on this, it looked like he had a pretty good chance of dropping. He might have hit the post and again gotten out, but good veteran goalkeeping with security, just pushing it out anyways.
So corner kick opportunity here. Keep an eye on McInerney and Kilduff.
You see McInerney right there in front of goalkeeper Vega, making that near post run, just trying to get a little bit of a flick.
Kilduff pushed down. Ball goes all the way through and out. Second part, it was Sharpie who went down.
Yeah, and the official was right there. Typically the momentum after any World Cup, trying to see what the trend of each World Cup is. And the trend of this one has been a lot of calling tight pulls and grabs inside the box on corner kicks. So where you can tell referees are right there on top of it.
Yuma with a challenge there. Ball goes out. No whistle. Here, Paul Dalglish voicing his disapproval of the tackle.
Well, no, maybe he's approving it. You know, he likes when players get involved there. I think if you could hear what he said on the sideline, I'm not going to repeat it fully. he got a lot of both. He got a lot of ball and a lot of leg. See a young Coy Craft. We typically have seen him more in that holding midfield position throughout the season. Today, the absence of Jaime Chavez, he's playing more of an attacking role.
He was on the U20 United States team that won the CONCACAF U20 championship. 21 years old now. McFarland making the run out wide. Can't get to it in time. It'll be a throw in for Jacksonville. 70th minute.
Yeah, the Armada desperately need the second goal to ignite that final push that they're going to need to get the equalizer. Miami FC's defense continues to prove very difficult to break, even though Vega have been very, very active the second half goal.
The Armada have tested the Miami goalkeeper, have not found the net here since Kilduff's goal in the 29th minute. Now here's Banks with some space. Portilla to his left. He'll go to the right. Here's Wesley Sharpie crossing one in. But it couldn't find the foot of a white-shirted Armada player.
That's a good early ball from Wesley Sharpie.
Counter opportunity now. Here's Suarez. Playing it forward. Kraft on the run. McInerney back watching him. Now Martinez. Jerome kicked it away. Look at Portilla doing the work defensively. Ariel Martinez settles it. Back for Turpak, who scored twice. With all of the firepower Miami FC has, you might not have thought of Turpak as the guy who would be the difference maker in terms of goal scoring here in this one, but he has been.
Well, as you mentioned, he has 2 goals coming into this game. He's got 2 goals tonight. More of a wide player that creates opportunities for others, more of an assist guy or the second assist guy. But both goal scorers tonight, the wide players coming in into more of a central area from wide crosses.
Yuma goes for the tackle. Suarez got there first. Dario Suarez got kicked. McInerney, it'll be a free kick in a dangerous position for Miami FC.
Yeah, that's a tough
Another card coming.
Very tough matchup for McInerney, going 1v1. Suarez full head of steam, going straight at him. See him there, Suarez just winding him up. Big McInerney, good, strong physical player, but that lateral side-to-side movement against a quicker Suarez.
So who will take this free kick for Miami? Ariel Martinez has some skill in that. Maris was very good with Indy when he played for that squad in the NASL.
Yeah, Mar is just a veteran player, just clogs everything up for Miami FC in the midfield.
It'll either be Martinez with the left or Maris with the right foot. It's Maris who lifts it way over the top. Never challenged Brian Holt.
And now it's the urgency they might have to continue to show. They can't drop off here. They got to get forward. Miami FC not really pressing the ball, allowing their Armada to bring the ball up with patience. They've got to get the ball to those wide areas with Derek Gebhardt and Camilo Portillo, 1v1 players that can create the situations and making it really difficult.
Kilduff. Now back to Connor Doyle. Sharpie plays it to Portilla. Quickly closed down, spins away from trouble. Yuma. Now to the inside, and both Doyle and Banks making a run there. And the Armada with another corner opportunity.
And that's a good ball from Yuma, getting the ball back out wide for an early cross from Wesley Sharpie. Oftentimes things are very clogged up in the midfield.
So the Armada will make a change here. Wes Sharpie coming out, Brian Beeman coming in. Beeman really a forward and a guy who should have very fresh legs here for the final 17 minutes plus.
Yeah, and I would anticipate J.C. Banks rotating over to the right wing back position. Bit of a joker player. He can really play. He can input him anywhere, and he does just as good of a job. As you mentioned, Brian Beeman, a forward, physical player. He's got legs, he's got energy.
Doyle waiting for his opportunity on this corner. A goal would be huge here for Jacksonville. Doyle serves it in. Vega, unchallenged, able to rise for that one.
As he does, constantly looking for Shane for McInerney, and then near post. He's got too much underneath the ball. Easy come out for Vega.
Holt comes out for this one for Jacksonville. Most of this half has been spent with the Armada on the attack. But for the one counter that really changed the course of this match, with Turpak scoring in the 53rd minute for Miami. Here's Portilla. Suarez chases him from behind. It'll be a throw in for Miami.
Yeah, that's how cruel this game can be for you sometimes. 2-1 coming out of halftime.
Another sub coming. And this time for Miami, Ali Hassan.
They got Brian James and Jeff Mashad, both two young players from South Florida area.
Ladies and gentlemen, substitutions for your Miami FC 2, courtesy of matchup. Coming in, number 11, Brian James.
Brian James, a really good career at Virginia and then eventually at Penn State.
Also entering the game, number 19.
He replaces Coy Kraft.
He's replacing number 6.
And Dylan Maris will sit down as Jeff Mashad comes in, a guy you're very familiar with.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to coach Jeff Mashad in his freshman year at UCF. Talented player. Been part of a couple pro teams so far. Tampa Bay Rowdies, Wilmington Hammerheads, and I was with Miami FC, more of a little bit closer to home.
Desperation time approaching, if it's not already here for the Armada, down 3-1. Again, we'll remind you, this broadcast presented by Listed.com. Selling your home, go to Listed.com.
I mean, Coach, it's been a positive second half for Jacksonville Armada. Created a lot of chances.
Offside flag stayed down as James makes his first appearance in the contest.
That's a little link up from the two substitutions. Jeff Mashad putting it through ball to Brian James. To the Armada, they're going to continue to get more expensive in the back, and those gaps are going to be a lot bigger. Got to really be careful on the counterattack, not to give up anything. You're still in the game, still have quite a bit of time here. But I would like to see him to get a little bit more urgency going forward.
Minutes regulation time remaining. Hasn't been much in the way of stoppages here. Kilduff able to redirect it. Portilla just half a step late. Taken away by Banks now for Jacksonville. J.C. Banks to Kilduff. Again, that little half touch has just become an issue here in the second half on some of these opportunities for the Armada. Miami does not allow much. You almost have to be perfect against this defense that has conceded only 6 goals all year long in NPSL play, including the one tonight.
Yeah, I didn't think Miami FC's defense expected how quickly Camilo Portillo could get to that ball. He almost had a toe on it.
Banks back defending, plays it back to Brian Holt. And the blue shirts forward now. If the Armada can get the quick counter here, they might have an opportunity. Beeman had Bernstein crawling up his back. Free kick for Jacksonville, right in the middle of the park.
Yeah, the substitutions from AFC have come at a good time. Starting to regain a little bit of the possession. Trying to look to kill the game.
Another Armada sub. Giovanni Vasquez coming in and replacing Shane McInerney. So a little less size for the Utah native. Still at 6'2", is not going to give up too much on that back line. We haven't seen Gio play all that much this year. Here's a shot from distance over the top and grazed the crossbar. Holt was rising for it, did not get a hand on it.
Yeah, and I think that scared hold just a little bit more than he made it seem like. Jeff Mashad, young player, come off the bench, just grazed the ball from a really tight angle. You don't expect players to shoot from that angle. And the Gio Vasquez substitution here is one of two things. Either the legs from McInerney just doesn't have enough legs to get the team up the field. But I know Coach Lowry talks a lot about Giovanni Vasquez's technique and his ability to string out passes. And that's what this is now. This is an attacking game for the Armada.
Have to regain possession to get on the attack. Here's Michaud. Ariel Martinez. Shot again. Doyle able to take it away, but then a giveaway. Martinez. He's got two men making runs, and it went right past. Another dangerous moment. That would have been it for the Armada.
And that would have been 3 goals for Turpak.
Portilla takes a knock from Johnny Steele. Less than 10 minutes regulation time remaining.
You're going to see now the slow down tactics a little bit from Miami FC. I believe Martinez is on the ground.
When you're up 3-1 in the final 10 minutes with veteran players, you expect to see this. And it's the privilege you earn by taking that lead.
Well, it is, and I think something that I don't know if I have the answer for it, but we see a little too much and too often in games in the last 10 to 5 minutes of the game when the team that's up, players starting to kind of drop down a little bit. I'm not sure how the referees can manage that better, get them off the field a little bit quicker. But whether it's true or not, it's gotten to a point where you almost start second guessing everyone that goes down in the last 10 minutes of the game.
So even a player like Portilla, who came in at halftime with sweat glistening. There's Mark Lowry. Tense moments for the Armada head coach.
And so far, it's been a tale of two different halves. Unfortunate for the Armada in the first half, put themselves in a bit of a hole with that early mistake from Brian Hull coming out for the first Turpak goal. Got themselves back into the game, and then very quickly saw that tie evaporate and go into the locker room at 2-1.
There's the former Armada defender, Tyler Ruthven, coming on against his former team. Another defender, a guy who will give up his body to make a play. We saw that. He was the Iron Man for the Armada when he played in Jacksonville. Here's Portilla. Kilduff got ahead to it. Beament with his back to the goal. Yuma. Beament again. A couple of former Puerto Rico FC teammates there. Vasquez will play it out wide and make a run into the box. Banks lifting one. Kilduff couldn't get his head to it. McFarland got there first and then played out by Jeff Michaud. The Armada need to muster every last bit of energy they have remaining here. The final 7 minutes of the season if they can't come back and score a couple.
You know, at this point, you're going to start seeing Armada just really get the balls into the box, try to get those knockdowns, hopefully poor clearances.
They go short with it to J.C. Banks. Now back to Gebhard. Gebhard tried to go back post. Beament was making a run. And again, just so close on that final touch.
Oh, and lovely play there from Derek Gebhard, and J.C. Banks does a heads-up play from him. And does a good job of trying to curve this ball to the back post. You see the right off short corner. J.C. Banks does a good job. Tell you what, Cole, that was really close. Brian Beament was making that near post run. Maybe you want to keep the ball just a little bit lower to block the view of the goalkeeper, give him any chance of making a save. But that's a pretty good take from Derek Gebhard.
He created so many issues in the regular season finale. And his pace continues to be such a weapon for the Armada. And that time he showed some skill with the ball at his feet. Here's Portilla laying it back. Vasquez. Now Mikey Melvin. Kilduff coming deep for it. The Armada need to get forward here in the last 5.5 minutes. Kilduff in the box, and the Armada captain whistled for the foul.
And the Armada still have a player, Christian Silva, on the bench as well, that can bring in a midfield player, not necessarily an attacking player, but a player that can make a final pass. If you're watching the content of this game, if you just turn it on and you don't look up at the ticker, you think the Armada is a team that's in the front. They're controlling the game, they're controlling the tempo, they're getting more and more chances. But Miami FC, a veteran team, got a couple opportunities, took care of them, and now they're just content with just playing defense for the remainder of the game, and just making it difficult for the Armada to break their back line.
Melvin got it into the box. Kilduff, a rising shot that was knocked down and then covered by Vega.
Boy, and chances after chances continue to come. Vega's been a very busy goalkeeper in the second half. Lovely little 1-2. Ball falls right on the bounce for Kilduff. Gets a lot of it. But the second shot that's coming right in the pocket for Vega. Relatively easy save.
Holt again with the ball at his feet.
Just very composed. Not a great ball from Mikey Melvin back. But Holt does not get desperate. Tries to find the open man.
Another Miami player down. Appears to be McFarland.
Somehow the home team that didn't play midweek, that didn't travel, experiences more cramps than their away team.
You figure that the score line might have more to do with it than the travel or fatigue.
Yeah, they've been defending most of the second half. About 75% of the game has been on Miami FC's defensive end. They've also had the lead the entire time, so no urgency to want to get out, really playing off the counterattack. Created a lot of chances in the beginning of the game, capitalized on 2 of them.
The Armada have looked like a team fighting through fatigue most of this match. They've done a lot of running, and they've played a lot of games in a short order. And Miami, with their depth and not having to travel or play on Wednesday, have looked a fresher team. Here's Kilduff. Armada showing a lot of heart here.
Absolutely. Well, you're right. They look like a team that have been looking for that extra leg, but I'll tell you what, they've been pushing the entire time. They have not let down whatsoever. There hasn't been a moment of quit. That's what we've come to expect from the Jacksonville Armada team.
See some frustration, too, at this point for the Armada. Doyle plays it through for Derek Gebhardt. Gebhardt with 3, now 4 defenders around him. Gebhardt being grabbed, and finally a free kick given. This could be a great opportunity for Meshach Jerome in this situation.
I'll tell you what, you get this in, makes the last 3 to 5 minutes of the game very interesting. You see Derek Gebhardt just continue to be a menace. Johnny still having to hold on to him. Otherwise, he turns that corner, he gets a shot on goal. It's a difficult matchup coming in on the left-hand side onto his right foot. He knows that any time he opens up, he has an opportunity to shoot.
This one may be just a little closer than Meshach would prefer. And maybe a little closer if Meshach takes the shot than some of the guys in the wall for Miami would prefer. This will have some smoke on it if it's Meshach Jerome, number 4, taking the free kick for Jacksonville.
Man, we've seen just a different type of technique that he's able to use.
Banks over it as well. Banks takes it. It's deflected.
And it looked like the wall opened up. You see Vega there really upset with his wall. Anytime he goes in between the wall, that's really difficult for the goalkeeper.
I think everybody might have been expecting Meshach Jerome to take that one. The 1-2. Yuma. Nobody at the back post for that one.
surprised Miami FC have not caught on to the fact that Jacksonville Armada, they're playing the short corners almost every single time.
Now Gebhardt a header. Cleared out by Ruthven.
I'll tell you what, they had a chance going the back post, really targeted to the back post.
In the final minute here of regulation time. Here's Gebhardt. Out wide for Connor Doyle. His cross was deflected. Gebhardt tried to come to it, but it was collected by Turpak for Miami. 4 minutes of stoppage time. 4 minutes left in the season unless the Armada can find a pair of goals.
And I love that these players continue to push forward. They know there's a 2-goal deficit, short, only limited minutes left in the game here, but both sides giving it all. It's been quality play on both ends of this field tonight, Cole. Two teams that like to play, like to create chances.
Banks. Portilla. Headed away by Ruthven.
The Miami FC back line, the combination of Trafford, Bernstein, and then Ruthven coming in, really difficult to break, especially in the air. All three really good aerial defenders, physical.
And the other word you would use for all three of those guys, fearless.
Fearless, yeah, they've just proven to make it really difficult to get into. You know, that's why you saw a lot of shots from distance from their Armada, because anytime you get near around them, they know how to cover the space in behind really well. Their lines are really tight and compact.
In the final minutes here, one of the things that I think will be taken away from this season if the Armada can't find 2 more goals here late, as Doyle is whistled for the foul, is not only that the Armada have made some history for the club, first playoff game, first playoff win, chance to play for the conference title, but also that they found solid footing this year.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an NPSL league, the Sunshine Conference here, a very competitive league. A lot of teams around the state of Florida, and you see a team like Miami FC, Miami United last week, a Naples team, it's a lot of competition, a lot of quality around. It'll be interesting to see. We're all excited to see what the future holds and how they continue to move forward and continue to bring soccer to the city of Jacksonville. See, the fans, the community have really embraced the team. Traveling fans. I think the front office with Coach Lowry has done a fantastic job of identifying the identity of the club, how they want to play, what kind of players and people they want to represent the brand, represent the city.
Turpak being subbed off, who scored 2 goals tonight for Miami.
So at the end of the day, there's no shame in losing to the reigning NSL champion, a team that finished first place in the league. You finished second place. You're at their place. Short recovery time. You just played midweek against a very tough Miami United team. You talked about the string of games that Jacksonville Armada have been putting together due to a lot of the cancellations, midweek games.
Another foul detected on Jacksonville.
Future is extremely bright for Jacksonville Armada team, not only with a good wave of veteran players that have committed themselves, but a lot of young, talented players that Coach Lowry has continued to invest in.
.30 seconds perhaps remaining in the season. And Gebhardt can't control that one. Well, when the season began, conventional wisdom was that these would be the 2 best teams in the Sunshine Conference. That played out. And here Miami, granted with a deeper roster, a very veteran roster, appear to be the team that are going to move on to the regional semifinals. Jerome playing it through for Jacksonville. Beeman will send it out wide. And there it is, the final whistle. 3-1. Miami FC advances. They are the Sunshine Conference champions And the season comes to an end for the Armada on a hot night in South Florida. Mauricio, this was exactly the kind of game that Miami has been playing all year long. The Armada fighting through fatigue and fighting on the road. Just couldn't come up with enough in the final third to close things out.
I mean, that's exactly. It was a game that was determined by details. There wasn't a Miami FC team that was 3-1 better from a style of play standpoint, from overall chances created. Vega, you see there, Coach Larry congratulating them. Vega was very busy in the second half. Armada have a lot to be proud of. They played well. They created a lot of chances.
Well, the Armada again had great support. Kieran Kilduff with a goal, but it wasn't enough. Jacksonville falling in Miami. 3-1 the final. The season comes to a close for the Armada. This broadcast presented by Listed.com. Thanks for watching right here on Channel 4.
After years of paying closing costs to help homeowners refinance and access equity with RP funding, I'm now helping home sellers and buyers with my new real estate company, Listed.com. When you sell your home with Listed.com, I'll pay your closing costs. Then buy your next home with Listed.com, and I'll pay your closing costs again. Combined, that's an average savings over $12,200. To sell or buy, visit Listed.com because closing costs are for the birds.